I think it's going.
Hey!
Another week. Hey,
We're
ready?
back, baby!
All right.
Hello, everybody. We got a little bit of reverb because that's how we roll here. Welcome to today's show. I'm excited. We're doing it again. We haven't had a Q&A for a little while, but today we're going to talk about questions.
Yeah.
Your questions, everybody.
And answers. That's the other
That's
half
name
of the queue. Yeah.
That's the other 50%, which we're going to do right after.
Oh, I wasn't ready for this. Okay, hold on.
Sorry, I got excited. I just jumped the gun.
Premature
Wait
introduction.
for it.
And now.
It's a good thing y'all already like us and we don't have to be super professional. That's and silliness and playfulness is actually a part of our brand and our strategy in life.
Yeah.
We try not to take ourselves too seriously, and it seems to be working out pretty darn good.
It keeps the stress off.
Yeah,
That we just forget to be ourselves and do what we do and
be who we is.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I think that's just what everybody should do more of. Just be yourself.
That's right.
And trust that things will go really good that way.
So, folks, you got questions. That's why you're here today. So the way this is going to work, we had probably 10 or 12 questions that were pre-written in today. And this is a coaching experience. So if you're here live with us, you can either ask your questions in the chat, which we'll get to. It could be about your course, your theme, gamification ideas, marketing ideas. We can basically go in any direction you want. And if you're... if it's applicable to you and you'd prefer, we could even bring you on camera and we could do a little bit of coaching together. So this call is going to be as long as it takes to get through the questions.
I guess so. I mean, within reason to keeping it somewhat
reasonable. Which we'll do.
Yeah, it shouldn't take more than an hour to get through these questions. I should hope not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, we're business people too.
We have
fun,
to do.
But we got stuff to do. You know, like this week, we're working on a continuation of bringing the great eCourse adventure over to Mighty Networks. So this week, my big job is revamping our workbook, which is, I'm really excited.
Oh, can you give a sneak peek? Do you have that there? Because we're so excited. As all of you in the great eCourse adventures, you know, it's in Evernote. And 2.5 years ago, when we came up with that solution for interactive workbooks, we were super stoked. It was a really exciting breakthrough for us to create a journaling system that was interactive. Yeah. But Blair and I are moving things forward, and this is what
workbook.
The beginning of the workbook is going to look like.
Right. So this is just in design by Adobe that we're using to create this. And that's part of our workbook philosophy, is having a really nice, beautiful workbook that's enjoyable to go to with the tools that are needed to do this. So we've got our action steps that you actually can check off. It's going to be an interactive PDF that allows you to, to be able to keep track of your progress, knowing where your checklist is being updated. And as we get into journaling entries, there's going to be spaces to journal and keep all that information saved in this PDF as you go through. And so we're just starting that now. So that's going to be the majority of this week because it's a 92 lesson.
It's a lot.
Workbook.
But he's got the template done, which is like the biggest part. And for all of you out there in watching land, we are actually, after we get the new platform done and the great eCourse adventure, we're going to be producing Workbook Heroes, where we're going to teach you to make themified, beautiful, interactive workbooks, just like the ones Blair is making for Green Screen Magic and Art of eCourse Creation and the Great eCourse Adventure.
Because we know for every course, the workbook is actually an essential part of it.
Yeah.
It's, people love to read. A lot of people are visual learners in that sense and need that sort of space. But, if it's just a black and white kind of lame piece of
paper,
online paper,
yeah,
It's not that fun.
And if it's not interactive, most people never print out the PDFs. So we're wanting to create a solution that you could print it out and it would be a gorgeous book that you could actually read and make notes in. Or if you want the digital version, that you can actually like put your notes in and organize your course materials, all that sort of stuff right in the PDF.
Totally. The name of the game here at eCourse Adventures is our students' experience.
Students'
And
experience.
that's the whole idea. Like our tagline is experience, the new frontier of online education. So really giving our students an experience all the way through, just like going off to, college. That's an experience, and having a really good teacher is an experience. And I'm sure we've all had that really amazing math or science teacher for a semester or so, and we loved it because it made such a big difference.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next semester or grade, and then it's a really lame monotone teacher, and you get terrible marks and drop out.
Yeah. Is that what happened, Blair? Now look where you've
Oh,
arrived.
yeah,
Way to go.
totally.
Good
Yeah.
choice. I was also a dropout.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Funny how that works. And now we're running an education business. Isn't that funny? Because education was boring, so why not make it better?
It needs an update. That's
what we're all here to do, make education better.
Cool. So, Bradley, we've got a list of questions that people have emailed to us, and we've got a whole bunch of people here sitting on Zoom, too. We've got Jonathan, Cheryl, Chris Gilmore, Monica. Hi, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Our request is just to keep yourself muted just so we don't get some crazy feedbacks during the show until we invite you onto the show, and we'll do our best to navigate bringing all you on, and I'm sure you've got your questions, so have those ready to go.
Yeah, put them in the chat, and if you want to come on camera to brainstorm some stuff, just say, here's my question, would love to come on camera.
Right, and that's the chat via YouTube Live, right? That's the chat you're talking
No,
about?
it's the chat in Zoom. For all of you that are here on Zoom, that's where we want you to post your questions.
You're managing that one?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, cool.
So question number 1 is from Lori. Lori submitted a few questions, so we'll just dig through those first. So Lori's first question is, I know you suggested some equipment in the handout for green screen magic, but I have a very small space and all those lights will not fit in the space. I'm taking over my dining room, which is also my office. It is the only space in our condo that will work. There are a lot of windows here, but most have blinds on them. I have a metal structure to put the curtain on, but need everything else, including the curtain, which is which the green screen will go on. The metal frame is expandable. I do not want to overbuy as the space is really small. I have an iPhone and mic for the iPhone. I have done previous green screen work for the eCourse Adventure from my iMac computer using ScreenFlow, picture attached. So let's just talk about the space first.
Is there a question, or is she just kind of give us the download?
That's
That's
kind of like the gist. It's a small space.
Sounds pretty standard for a startup entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Welcome to early business, and doing what we can with what we have.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you have a living room to set up in is something to celebrate, and using what you've got, and that's exactly pretty much what we did early on, using what we had access to, and just being as creative and learning the boundaries of what we have, and trying to expand upon them. But your limitations will be your greatest teachers. Yeah. And just keep working hard, because then you can get clear on what you might need to upgrade. But as far as
what you can do with a small space, and if anybody's coming on, just mute yourself so that we can keep the background noise to a minimum. So for like our original space, we were in our dingy, moldy, dusty, disgusting basement, and it was just like, it was a makeshift little green screen stand. Like even right now, it's just hanging on the wall right over there in this giant space that we're in.
Oh,
right
careful.
now. Sorry.
Sorry.
So I would just say, like, let's just say you've got a screen and you've got 6 feet, 6 feet wide. One thing you could do is do what we've done and just tack it up on the wall. Get some green fabric so that you don't have to have a big.
If you turn on your camera in Zoom.
My camera?
Your camera in Zoom.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, now turn off your speaker though. Whoa.
There we go.
Crazy.
Bro. All right. So here we
Hold
are.
on, and I'll just split this. All right. Give us a second. Where are you on the Zoom call?
Come on. Improvisation, Blair.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to pin the video. Oh, it's not. Is it not working? I'm not sure why it's not working right now. It should be working. Okay, it's not working right now.
I'll pin the video. There we go. I'm pinned.
I already pinned, but it's
pinned.
not set up. Okay, it's not working.
It's not working.
It's not working.
It should be working.
Well, it's working for people in Zoom, but not necessarily on YouTube. So I'll fix that. So we'll talk about something else.
I'm gonna show them though. The people that are on Zoom, which is our main audience live right now. I'm just gonna show you where we are right now.
All right, then I'm gonna.
So Blair, I'm gonna be away from the microphone. So you're gonna have to just kind of show people. Everybody on Zoom can see what we're doing. Okay, so this is the space. There's Blair.
There we go.
Blair.
Hi.
And there's Paige, our new community manager and assistant. Paige,
Ranger boss lady
there.
in the flesh.
Yeah. There's the view.
See, that's something that's special for sure.
That's super special.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, slow down there, man. You're gonna make everyone sick.
Whoa, sorry everybody. There's the closet.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's a small space. We've got some lights barely making it. Whoa, there we go. And right in our face, there's the green fabric. We're giving away all the trade secrets here. There's our monitor and our camera, so you can get the idea that it's
It's pretty small.
It's small. It's a bedroom. So that's what we've been working with.
Fortunately, we're building a giant real-life studio that will be able to do live events with like 40 people and live stream them and have a big green screen and
yeah,
a music studio. That's being built and that'll be ready for like January 2019. So that's exciting.
Totally. So as you can see, like it sounds like you're doing exactly what you can with what you have, and just keep at it. It's just always being creative.
Yeah.
And just doing what you can, and that adds up and creates momentum, and next thing you know, you might attract a new space that's a little larger, because I mean, to me, that's how the universe works, and it will give you what you need when you need it.
And I'll just say as well, like the as far as your your lighting needs, the two side panels that we have here and the taller overhead one, like those are necessary. You can't live without those if you're doing green screen stuff. And if you can, like when we first started and we had our smaller space, we had some clamp lights as well that you could buy at your local hardware store for less than $20 and get the exact same lights inside of those. So you need to have enough space for that, for those three main photography lights, which you can buy on Amazon in the green screen kits. If you send the company that we're going through a message and say you just want the 3 lights instead of the 5 that they come with, that's totally fine as well. So that's question 1.
Was there more to that question?
Here's the second part of the question. The one other thing I have invested in for this project so far is Premiere Pro Creative Suites. So my question is, what do I absolutely need for lighting for this tiny space? Oh, we just answered that.
Yeah.
And where should I get them? So the company that we have at the Green Screen Magic site, I'll just post the link.
Yeah, so we've already done some research on finding,
We've sourced, this is the best price that we could find for kits. And
just an essential kit. It's on our Green Screen Magic toolbox site, which is
greenscreenmagic.com/magical-tools.html. And I put that in the Zoom link there, so you can check it out, and it'll be in the show notes as well.
Let's add it to YouTube as well, if you can, just for the people.
I'm not on YouTube. You're gonna have to do it.
Oh.
Okay, so let's continue the question. The other picture shows my computer workspace. I don't see the picture here in the email. So the lights, use the lights that we have here. And now the third question is, I have used ScreenFlow for eCourse adventure videos, including green screen effects. What are the steps I should take to use this footage if I want to move it to Adobe Premiere Pro? So Blair, I think that's a question for you.
I wasn't listening. I'm trying to do this link.
It's up in the top in the hamburger bar.
Okay, cool. What's the question again?
Okay, so Lori's used ScreenFlow for her eCourse adventure videos, which includes green screen effects. And what are the steps to move that footage over to Adobe Premiere Pro?
Like the footage that she shot, or that's in ScreenFlow?
I'm guessing the footage that
I mean, if it's just raw footage and you're just in front of a green screen, it's just taking that footage over the Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
It's just like any sort of footage. Instead of uploading it to ScreenFlow or any other editing software, it's as simple as just bringing that over and loading that in. If you've already created things with effects and such in ScreenFlow, I mean, you can't bring those effects over. So either you need to finish that project in ScreenFlow if you're already past the point of no return, or you're going to have to just start again and continue in Premiere Pro. I think that's just kind of the point of the transitionary period, is that sometimes there's a little bit of growing pains. That
like growing pains in the ass, basically. It's the easiest way to say it. It's just like a tedious task of moving it from one location to the other, which Blair just basically moved his years of work from a MacBook to a PC, and he's about to go back to a Mac. So, there's just like some of these tasks when working with technology are just like tedious pains in the ass. And they're also necessary.
And
TPIAs, tedious pains in the ass.
I guess so.
Can be. So I think like if it's just raw footage, Lori, you just have to import it over. And for all of you in Green Screen Magic, if you haven't started or you're not too far into it, you'll see Blair shows you exactly how to import your materials and how to organize your whole editing suite so that it's really seamless and easy to use. And that course is literally guiding you step by step to add your layers, add your effects, get your lighting set up, get your camera perspective so that it looks realistic with the background that you've chosen, how to get the lighting set up so based on depending what your background is so that you blend naturally. Like all those things are taught in the course, and Blair shows you exactly how to set all that stuff up.
And that sort of creation of using green screen, it's going to take time to refine your process as it has with us. And for us to be creating Green Screen Magic or the Art of eCourse Creation, our two more recent courses, it took 92 lessons of creating for the Great eCourse Adventure. And as we're going through and revamping our earlier checkpoints, like checkpoint 1 to 4 was our first push. And it was a few months later that we started creating 5 through 13 and carried on. And there's a big difference that we can see when we go back to lessons 1 or checkpoints 1 through 4. Some really notable ones was just, the quality. I wasn't sure of what all those extra little dials and knobs were in the green screen effect that I was using in Premiere. And so I refined that over time. And these are things that I get to show you in Green Screen Magic, but it also is an art form. So I can, it's just like a teacher teaching you how to paint, but you have to just be getting used to bringing your brush to canvas just to get that knowledge and feel within yourself of how it works, because my footage that I'm taking will be different from your footage and your lighting, and just so many different variables that it will take time. So the sooner you can start this process, I mean, if you feel like, okay, I might be a couple years out to actually need this might be the perfect time to actually start that, because it could take you a few years just for that to get into your being, into your body, and feel that. So by the time you do need to create, you're creating at that level that you want.
And I just want to say, we just had an amazing conversation with Mark Silver from Heart of Business, who's going to be on the show soon. And he has a course that is the fundamentals of business. And he was talking about their whole approach with their students is that you're on a 4-year learning curve to get your business to a solid, grounded space where you know what your company is, you know what you're offering, and you're creating a sustainable income. And with the way that we're producing e-courses, like, give yourself 4 years. What would happen if you treated this like your university degree and you followed all the steps that we're taking here and you started producing content and you gave yourself a 4-year window? When I started building my meditation courses, I gave myself 5 years that I'm going to have that be a big branch of my business in 5 years. And now the meditations are on apps and licensing and all that sort of stuff. And so
totally, just slow and steady.
For you out there, like, instead of dreaming up these giant courses like the Great eCourse Adventure, which are going to take you, if you're working solo rather than like us that had a team of 3 at the time, it'll take you years to do what we've done if you're just starting out. So instead, create mini courses, like 3 lesson courses that provide a specific result. Or just for practice, go through the whole Great eCourse Adventure and work on 1 lesson that you offer as like a free lesson on your email subscription to like collect emails, and just create 1 friggin' awesome lesson, and then maybe create a 3-lesson course that you sell for a little bit of money. Like, if you started to, and we're all in, not we, because we're not in a rush anymore. Most people who are building courses are trying to cash in quickly because that's what the marketing man has taught us to do. And really, we should be taking a step back and approaching this like it's an art form, which it is, and really put on our student cap. Like, you are a teacher of something, but you're not a professional e-course creator yet, and it's going to take you some practice to get to that space so that you can create masterpieces on your canvas.
And even when Brad and I got together with Andy to create the Great eCourse Adventure, you were for a decade or roughly that time already putting that time in as a business coach and building e-courses where you're already teaching that for a number of years. So you already had the content and material there and the know-how. Being in front of the camera, these things came naturally at that point
with real
already.
People.
Right. Andy had all those years of his tech knowledge, bringing that forward. But he wasn't necessarily comfortable in front of the camera. So that was one of the challenges we had. And myself, I've been working with media, cameras, audio for 10, 15 years before that even started. So that was what we as a team were bringing to the table. If we had to start from scratch, there'd be no way, even at this point, if we just started, 2.5 years ago, we wouldn't be creating what we created then. And so that's just to keep that in perspective. And if you can give yourself a 4-year window to just relax into the process and just know, okay, you're not quitting your day job yet, but you're going to spend a few hours every week and just keep working at chipping away. Because in 4 years, we know if we look back 4 years ago, like that seemed like not too long ago.
It's not.
It really isn't. And 4 years will go by pretty quick. And it's kind of nice about the journey more than the destination.
It feels so good to have a relaxed approach to business. Like, we get it. You need to pay your bills and stuff. But if you can simplify your life to the level that gives you enough free time that you can focus 1 or 2 days a week on your business, it's great. Like, that's the way to go. It's just like consistent, steady progress forward. And that's been my mantra for 14 years of business, is like, even though I was flailing for a good chunk of those 14 years, I was constantly taking at least, my motto was like at least 1 step forward every single day, even if the step was small. Now it's such a habit that I can take 12 steps forward in a day. And it's more of like I've got a steady jog going a lot of the time. But so we kind of went off on a tangent there, but hopefully that was useful for some of you out there. Had nothing to do with your question, Lori, but hopefully there's some there regard. So Premiere Pro, it's really good, and you should just be able to switch over from ScreenFlow and just follow Blair's instructions. So let's dig into.
Should we ask someone on Zoom?
Let's dig through these ones here that I have, and then we'll jump over to the Zoomers.
Sure.
Or one more on Zoom. I've got 2 that are kind of related. So
okay, we'll ask those, and then let's bring someone from Zoom just for fun.
Okay. Okay, let's go with Holly. She says, I'd like to know how you found the backgrounds and if you can film your own. For instance, if I wanted to get the bustling action of a restaurant happening in the background of a module, how do I ensure the right scale, perspective, view? Would love if, after your 3-day sleep retreat and your music festival foray, this was asked about a week ago, to know how we did that, how we found our backgrounds, or how to create backgrounds.
Right. You know, this is probably the most challenging piece of my role here at eCourse Adventures is sourcing the backgrounds. I really wish it was a super easy process. I probably spend, when we're making eCourse, half of my time in the entire eCourse creation process of just sourcing backgrounds, because it's a very important part, right? It's the environment that we are in. Sometimes it's easy. So, you know, we were just going up a mountain, you know, for the Great eCourse Venture. That was actually pretty easy because there's lots of really great nature shots out there. But if you're trying to source the perfect angle while you're in a bustling restaurant, that is where it gets more challenging, especially for video stuff, because video stock footage, I find, is expensive, but it's also from a perspective of maybe like a documentarist, where they're constantly panning the scene, and there's always this movement to the camera, which for us eCourse creators looking for a background, that's a big pain in the ass because it's like, stop moving the camera. Will anyone just give me a good 30 seconds to a minute of just static image of a restaurant? So that really is a grand challenge. And yes, you can do it yourself. The only issue is legalities, right? So if you're going into a restaurant and everybody in that restaurant, I mean, you could try to sneak the footage.
She's in the restaurant business, so she's good. She could
I
just
see what you
hey,
mean.
Everybody, I'm bringing in the camera crew, and we're just going to do some static shots of all you working.
Right, but you still have to, like, usually there's video release forms for people when they start giving their image and their face, and they can come back later if they're not believing what you're doing. Like, that's just something to be safe and careful for when you're doing video work.
Yeah.
Or you can actually, in that case, if it's your restaurant, you just put up a form and anyone walking through the door can clearly see that sign that you're going to be filming.
Yeah.
And by them crossing that threshold, they're agreeing.
Yeah.
So
or just throw a party at your restaurant if you've got a restaurant and invite all your friends. Be like, hey, we're making this eCourse thing, and we need to get a whole bunch of shots of like waiters going to the table and chefs working in the kitchen, and just like, you know, make a party or an event out of it, and really get people in.
Somebody's typing. Oh, Nancy, I'm muting you.
There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, there's definitely ways to go about it, and if you're doing it just as a background image, that isn't overly complicated as far as like perspective and stuff like that.
Right. So perspective, that's a whole art form of being able to make sure that your camera's in the right position, because if you're sitting, the camera, you know, would be like, right now the camera is about, what is that, about 5 feet off the ground roughly.
Yeah.
Kind of looking down at us a little bit. And that gives that perspective that works for this background, and I've moved the background accordingly to kind of give that a little bit more of an actual shot, because our eye unconsciously can tell these things. But if you're standing, you know, it would be a little different. So like if we stood up right now, it would be kind of awkward, right? Because now I'm out of the shot and it's not going to work. So these are things to be considerate of, you know, this is where having your storyboards in place for your course, you know, I think that's what, like number
it's
7 or
7. Camp Medius, the Great eCourse Adventure, talks about storyboarding your videos so that you have an idea of your perspective, so that if you're shooting a kitchen scene and you're going to be speaking in front of that kitchen scene, like for the background, then you need to like, how tall am I going to be? What angle do I want the camera to be at so that it catches all the action behind me? There's
a lot of great information online if you look that up. We also go through this quite extensively in Green Screen Magic, because that's a big part of creating the magic.
Yeah. And I'll just say, like, if you're watching TV or movies, just start paying attention to how the perspective is. Are they shooting from down below? Are they shooting from up above? Are they shooting from the side? And what feeling does that give you when you're watching it? Because the different views give you a different feeling. And so when I now watch movies, I'm not necessarily just watching the movie. I'm watching the camera angles. I'm watching the pan shots. I'm watching how often are they actually like cutting the shot so that it switches views. And it happens a lot.
Yeah.
So that sort of stuff, like, you know, what we're really doing here at eCourse Adventures is we're merging like Hollywood style production in a really simplified way and bringing that into e-learning so that it does make it more interesting and engaging and effective for people to go through.
Cool. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Let's
all right. Is anyone
let's
in
see here.
Zoom?
Oh, and Chris just said with the background thing for the restaurant, they did that for their cocktail party eCourse where they needed a bunch of B-roll footage. So they threw a private cocktail and got tons of footage. So that's awesome.
Perfect.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let us know what you do, Holly. We would love to hear what your decision is and how that works out. And if you get good footage, show us.
One more thought too is you don't always need to use a green screen. So we teach a lot about green screens because it helps us get onto the top of a mountain, you know, and different, we went to outer space. So some of that stuff that really isn't feasible for us. But if you already have a restaurant, maybe you actually just teach your e-course and get those shots in your restaurant and just have really good miking placements, like a nice close, like a lapel mic or something like that. That could work. So you don't always need to be using the green screen if you can create a live set behind you and you already have that sort of stuff. It's more about the actual entertaining elements of our e-courses than it is about the green screen. But the green screen is a tool that we can use to create that entertaining element.
And I'm sure someday there will be e-courses that we produce that don't have green screens. In fact, Blair is very adamant that someday he won't have to edit a course with green screen.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to make a documentary style course someday. And in fact, we went for this epic lazy river rowboat ride down the canal that we're living on here on the weekend. And we were talking about how important it is to protect the oceans. And like Celeste, my wife, and I, we were just asking, like, what could we do to actually make a difference? And so we started brainstorming, and we came up with like one idea of the reduce, reuse, recycle thing with like the 3 arrows. We're like, well, what if, like, because one of the reasons that the whales are dying off, one of the many reasons, is because there's not enough fish for them in the ocean. I don't know if you're all paying attention to the mama whale whose baby died, and she's been pushing this whale around for 2 weeks, this dead whale, almost in protest to get humans' attention. So we're talking about that. And so we came up with this idea to, like, for humans to lower their fish consumption so that there's more fish for the whales. And it was refuse, reduce, replenish. And so refuse to eat fish, or if you eat a lot of fish, then reduce the amount of fish that you eat in order to replenish. And instead of the recycling symbol, it's 3 salmon.
Are you going to have a pirate theme?
Arr. Yarr. So next thing that happens, we go for a walk that night down our street, and we meet this biologist who's doing this campaign this coming weekend, this whole scientific thing to bring the community together to start restoring the local starfish on our island. And so we're like, well, this is so freaking cool. And so we're going to be going to this big thing, and he's already producing like e-learning experiences with like big TV networks, and he wants to get into online education. He's kind of like a Bill Nye kind of character. He's really cool.
Bill Nye meets David Suzuki.
Yeah, sort of.
Sweet.
So I don't remember why I was talking about this, but
we'll segue into someone from Zoom.
Exactly. I was just buying some time. Rory has a question here. Rory, if you want to come on camera, just unmute yourself and let us know. And if you're watching your PJs and you don't want to come on camera, then you can always just unmute yourself so we can have a conversation. But Rory asks the question.
It's not working. Okay.
completed my who. So an architect forest checkpoint for the Great eCourse Adventure. You learn about your ultimate who. It's kind of a niching exercise, or niching if you're in the United States. And one of the comments that stuck with me was my course is based on where I was X number of years or months ago. This got me thinking about helping other IT support companies become more cyber and information security, aka GDPR, aware, and also gain the UK government's Cyber Essentials standard. We're a certifying body as well. We went down this road about 18 months ago without an eCourse, and it felt like pulling teeth. We worked with about 5 IT support companies, and none of them completed the program. So coming back to the who, I'm finding the prep questions very easy to answer and about the audience, etc. My instinct is telling me to go direct for end user organizations, but all of your prep and my brain is saying to go for IT companies. Key questions: should I stick to the audience I know and not give up, but look for the eCourse to transform their challenge into a solution? What would you advise? Well, it's a tough question, because you see an opportunity. There's a need that exists, and what is the job of the entrepreneur? The job of the entrepreneur is to go where the need is and to provide a solution and to charge money for that solution. And so the need that you perhaps see may not have existed. The GDPR is still a very new thing, and most people are not in compliant, and most people are not even looking there. They're like, whatever. And so you could provide a solution to that. So I guess the question for you is like, what do you want to be known for? What do you want your business to be known for? Who do you want to be serving? What is the group that is going to most light you up and align with the work that you're here to do in the world? I think like it's easy to just chase the money, but chasing the money, eventually the soul wears down. And so where are you feeling most excited and light? And one of the questions, one of the processes in Architect Force is to take your 2 ideas, and there's a whole rating system. So go through that rating process to choose your best course, and just trust that. And if you're able to come on camera or unmute yourself to brainstorm about this, we could always dig into that a little bit more.
Do you want to ask a follow-up question there?
I do see you also have a question that you wrote in about, which we'll dig into next. In relation to my eCourse on GDPR cybersecurity, I'm a little bit nervous about creating a gimmicky, cheesy theme to approach your e-learning. So with eCourse Adventures, for those of you, the Great eCourse Adventure, we teach Themafication, which is essentially turning your course into a world to make it a more immersive learning environment. My target audience are business owners and senior employees. Am I being silly?
No, I think you're being smart, and you have to really understand your clientele, your customers, your students, and what they want. So the idea of themification doesn't mean having to be adventurous or silly in any stretch. That's what we show, and we get this quite often because it's showing a part of our personality, because we like having fun. And yet a lot of these senior executives, I don't know if they like having fun. They might want something a little more serious and show that, because in the business world, there's this great idea of that, like to be serious is to be like good business. And I mean, I don't believe in that, but some people and your customers, if that's the case, they need that. So if your theme was a high tech, a high tech firm that's offering this sort of stuff rather than like a spy theme or something, like you don't have to do that, but you look like you've got scientists working behind you or a larger firm behind you. Like right now, just this idea that we have this huge studio behind us while we're presenting the show offers the illusion that we've got this huge studio behind us, which then conjures up these ideas of success and such like that to our viewers. And that's just kind of part of themification is creating that. Because if we were just in a small bedroom, it's not as fun, and it doesn't conjure what we're trying to create. So
one of the I'll just give an example from one of the clients that we're working with for a little bit, who teaches negotiation skills, and he had the same question. Like my my clients make $100 million deals. They're not going to be into, an adventure theme or anything like that. As cool as he thinks our theme is, he's like, my clients would not want that. Sven, who's closing a $100 million deal and wants to become a more powerful negotiator, he's not going to be into that. So the question I had for him, well, what is the environment that those people are used to being in? Probably really epic boardrooms where they close the deals.
Epic boardrooms, or maybe like the back of a yacht,
or
like,
or
I don't know what
the lobby of a hotel bar, or sitting at a resort with like mountains out the back and glass.
Classy
and so for
cocktail
him,
party, or
his theme was really easy. You're sitting at the board table and you're teaching them to cut the deal. And so for the visioning process I gave him was, describe to me the most epic boardroom that you ever did a negotiation in. Tell me about it. What was the view? What was it like? And it was like this high ceiling, bookshelves all around, leather chairs, a fireplace, and snowy mountains out the back. And so
that sounds
for him,
great.
I was like, okay, perfect. So that's where you're teaching, is you're just going to find a place like that. You're going to rent it and you're going to shoot your course there. And so the different exercises, like sometimes for the looser negotiation pieces, he'd be sitting in the leather chair, he'd be having a cocktail, and he'd be teaching. And then for like the ones where it was like really getting to the serious stuff, he'd be sitting right across the table and the camera would be zoomed right in on him. And it would be like he was, 3 feet away, as if like that's how you're negotiating. You're sitting across the table from each other, and that's how it works in negotiations. So for you, like if you're talking about cybersecurity, I know you brainstormed the idea kind of around a Mission Impossible theme, and you could do that in a really non-cheesy way. And cybersecurity, like that's some serious stuff. Like you could kind of bring in some FBI-esque sort of energy to it to add a level of intensity to inspire people to take action and do the homework that you're providing for them. And you could, give them like a countdown timer on their lesson pages that are kind of like, you've got 24 hours until this mission it destructs, and it's like you have that much time to complete this task.
And you could do that, or you could do none of it. And the idea of our themification was to help you get through the entire course, just so therefore you can palette the material to actually get to the end. Because we know.
Can you hear me, guys?
Oh,
there we are. Rory.
Hey.
I wasn't sure if you could hear me. No, hello from the UK.
Hello, welcome to.
It's a quarter to 9 p.m. here in the evening, so it's.
You got some nice sleepy time tea brewing.
Yes, indeed. You've given me a lot to think about. Thank you for that. As I said, I think the themification that's really good. You've really helped me there. I think the green screen side, just looking on the webinar today, obviously what you've done, simple green screen behind you, which completely sets the sort of tone and the scene. It's not overly complicated to do.
No.
But there's obviously it has quite a large impact, doesn't it? Than seeing a white wall with some picture frames or whatever there was behind you. I don't recall. So it's just coming back to the theme of the course. I think I run two businesses. One business is IT support. So I run a small IT support business, and we basically went through the cybersecurity journey ourselves over the last 2 years. So the course that I was looking at, or the eCourse that I'm looking at putting together, is effectively going to provide the students with some shortcuts and assistance on the challenges that I came across. And effectively, at the moment, we provide very much a sort of consultancy-led program, and it's very challenging. It's very time-consuming for the end user organization.
Right.
We have been approached by a number of IT companies because they are being asked by their client base to offer assistance as well, and because they're seen as effectively the sort of subject matter expert, anything to do with IT, their clients are going to them. So there's definitely a need there. I think I was a bit optimistic this time last year, thinking that they would be as passionate about it as I am, and they're not. But my thoughts are that's where the eCourse comes in effectively for me to create the material and to provide a sort of supportive framework
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
some sort of lightweight sort of one-on-one consultancy rather than a sort of 3 or 4 day program over about a 3-month period,
Yeah.
which is typically what we have at the moment.
As far as business models go, I mean, our business model is, you sign up for the do-it-yourself membership at $35 a month, or, you pay the premium of $2,500 a day to hire us. And so for you, I could see something very similar. If you've got organizations coming to you, then you tell them, like, we've got this program here, which you can pay $500 for, or you hire our firm for $2,500 a day for consulting or whatever the price might be for you. And you go that route and kind of have different packages. And then people that obviously can't afford, we're like, well, that $35 a month or whatever, the $500,
That's exactly what I'm thinking, because IT companies are okay, they're not catch rich, but they're very much time poor.
Yeah.
And should be quite tech savvy in the first place.
And
yes,
and all of you, like, you're all in the same category. You have this service that you offer that you can offer at a premium, and you're building e-courses so that the people that can't afford your premium rates can actually sign up for something and still learn from you. And there's still this archive of all your knowledge and wisdom that people can have access for without needing to go direct to you.
Yeah.
That's why we do e-courses.
And what's coming through for me too is, I mean, it's a very specific niche that you have.
Yeah.
And, instead of creating possibly one big e-course, just start off small. And what we've been really learning recently with the conversion experts when we're doing it with the Facebook marketing and stuff like that is the importance of testing. And so if you start small, then you'll get an idea of who's out there, what they start liking, and then maybe switch the theme up and maybe have a little more fun. And you might find, oh, everybody does like this a little bit more. And you start going that direction. A big part of it will be your own personality, because you want to be attracting the type of people that are also going to be in resonance with you if you're interacting at the same time. So it's a balance, being an entrepreneur, being an artist, and finding that for yourself.
And I also think a really great model for you might be in providing tools and templates for people. So for example,
yes, we've got that all as well. I've been working on that over the last 18 months.
That's great. I think that's going to be a huge piece, that people can pay X number of dollars for a fill in the blank, like GDPR template that they just add in their own information to be compliant. And you give them a checklist of, like, here's all the things that you need to change within your system to be compliant. And it's just like, it's almost done for you. And each next step could come with a simple instructional video. And like, to bring in your theme, whatever your theme is, you just do a different background with some cool music. Maybe Blair could bring up the stock video stuff that's like the Mission Impossible stuff they were looking at for Chris's course, like the Jason Bourne thing. There's all those templates for After Effects that people can purchase, like something like that, just to add in some layers and some cool, like, intro, outro pieces to just bring a little bit more exciting to each lesson.
Yeah, it's something to play with, right? And it's really, again, coming back to understanding who your clientele is and serving them the best, because it's their experience that you're looking to create. And so just getting clear on who are the people that will be doing this, and finding out what kind of media that they are already consuming, because the more that you can be in alignment with what they're consuming, what is their media diet, right? And so if it's
we're talking IT guys, so it's sort of webinars, and they're used to the old style sort of CBT nuggets. Sort of training.
If that's what they're used to, they give them what they're used to, but do it way better. Just make your media exceptional, and take what you're learning from the Great eCourse Adventure around facilitating the student learning experience, and just make it better. Like what we tried to do with the Great eCourse Adventure is really put ourselves in the students' shoes and try to predict where you guys would all struggle with your creative process and come up with creative solutions that would keep you taking the next step forward. And that's why it's entertaining. That's why there's the gamification and the bajillion,
because
and why we've got a community.
Because you're all creatives, and because you're creating these e-courses. And so that creative spark needs that essence of fun and adventure to keep it alive. And so, but yeah, if these are IT peeps that are just like wanting like it cut and dry, just give me the
Yes,
facts,
indeed.
then
Yeah.
just stick with that. And
Yeah.
that's, and then just make sure that maybe your titling and things are a little bit themed or at least just consistent. And there's so much that you can take in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you guys. I don't want to hog the entire show, so thanks for your assistance. Thanks
Our
for your help.
pleasure. Yeah,
Keep
shoot us an email.
Yeah,
We'd
keep
love
us
to know.
informed. We'd
I
love
will
to
do.
hear which
Thank
direction
you.
you go and what kind of success you see in that.
I will do. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you're welcome. So we'll probably go another like 20 minutes or so. We've got a bunch more questions that
Yeah,
people
if
wrote
we
in,
don't-
and Chris wants to come on camera.
Let's get maybe
So
we get
let's-
Chris on.
Yeah, Chris,
Chris.
unmute and
Show yourself, reveal yourself, sir.
come on down.
Is he?
Yo,
Yo,
I'm just gonna move.
Hello,
I'm gonna just
sir.
move into another room here for a second.
Oh, okay.
I'm at a co-op working office right now, so
We're gonna have one of
Nice.
those on Salt Spring Island, BC. And by the
I
way,
heard.
for all you out there, who wants to come to an eCourse Adventures weekend retreat at the end of September? I think the 28th, 29th, Saturday, Sunday. We would do a big party. We would do all the business building, e-course creation, visioning, dreaming, brainstorming, masterminding stuff.
Yeah.
Well on epic adventures on Salt Spring Island. So
Nice. I might even DJ a dance party that
that
night.
sounds great.
Woo, woo.
So let us know if any of you are interested in that because we're trying to gauge who would be down.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chris, what do you want to talk about?
yo, cool. Well, I got a quick question about an idea that percolated from a conversation with a buddy the other night, who's also kind of diving into the e-course world.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
Just to mention something really quick though, on something you were saying before, Brad, for all the folks out there, I jumped on the mountain when it started, which was what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
2.5, 3.
2.5.
It's hard to gauge. but-
November 2016 was when we started pre-sales. No, 15.
Anyways, what I
Regardless,
just
it was a
wanted to-
long time ago.
Long time.
Yeah, so I got in on the initial beta test, basically, like the
Yeah.
very first one. And I just wanted to share quickly, because on your topic before, Brad, about kind of playing the long game and the 4-year plan, I totally came in with the whole like, cool, I'm going to design like 3 courses this year and start this business and get making money. Had all these big dreams. And, 3 years later, I'm finally making leaps and bounds. But I just wanted to share that looking back, if I look at what I was originally trying to create, there's no way it would have been successful if I poured a ton of work into it. And playing the long game and testing ideas in small batches and kind of building stuff over time. And now I'm feeling incredibly confident. And I think I'm about to take I've already taken some huge leaps.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to take more. And I just wanted to kind of share that with other folks that I'm really glad that it ended up being slower. And in those moments, I was like, oh my goodness, this has to work now or I can't afford it. And sure enough, 3 years has gone by and it's like, oh no, I actually have made it work. And I'm starting to make money now doing this. And it's
Yeah.
actually starting to grow fast. And if I had rushed, I probably would have all fallen apart because nobody wanted what I originally tried to create. And it took time to figure that out.
I'm happy you're sharing this because it's easy for us to say it because in hindsight, like you, we were trying to make it work. We thought we were going to be bazillionaires straight out of the gate and that like we found our ticket to freedom. And it's been way more hard work than we've ever imagined. It's also been a pretty beautiful journey of like really finding our artistry in the world of entrepreneurship and education. And so I'm happy that you're just solidifying that for other people to like, just take a deep breath and chill out. Enjoy this journey. Like you're learning to be creative, entrepreneurial, and a transformation facilitator all at once. And there's a lot of things that you have to learn. There's a lot of individual skill sets that you have to refine to do what it is that you're trying to do.
Totally.
Well, that's the big thing there to share too, is just that through this whole process, I've learned about so many things that I never would have even imagined were part of this. And I'm starting to do other jobs and get high paid gigs from skill sets I learned trying to create this e-course that I never would have had before.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool how this can ripple. I feel like just these skill sets are so relevant to where the economy is going.
Yeah.
That even if your e-course takes a while, you're really setting yourself up for success by developing all the skill sets. From marketing to branding to copywriting to green screening to video production to
You
talking.
never know where the journey's
involved
going
in
to take
e-course.
us. We just have to start taking that journey. And just for everyone listening too, like we are now working with Chris on the Survive the Storm. your first eCourse, and so we're working together.
Second, actually.
Oh, your second one. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then and that you now have Kim working with you and creating a nice little production team on your end in Ontario, and that it's been a lot of fun for us to work with you in that regard. And as you continue to grow, that's growing a nice little team that can assist us, and people in Ontario, and it's just the tribe is growing in that sense, and we never know what's going to happen until we take that first step. So thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's been a great journey.
Yeah.
Anyways, the question.
So
me and my buddy were just chatting about engagement with students in an eCourse and talking about how, everyone's kind of getting sick of emails and they're kind of boring. And you can do all this chatbot stuff and Messenger, but I'm not a big Facebook fan, and I'm trying to spend less time there, and not everyone in your course is necessarily going to be on it. So we got talking about, what other thing could you do through your form? So instead of sending like an email reminder that says, hey, you haven't been on the Greek eCourse adventure in a while, what's up? Or we want to help you, blah, blah, blah. How could you integrate in something a little bit more fun and playful that fits into your theme just through your phone?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have ever checked out, specific to mine, Survive the Storm, but I'm wondering if this might be relevant to some other folks as well. There's this app called Zello that's like a walkie-talkie app that it can be used for social stuff and everything, but it's also was used in Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma for people to basically set up grassroots rescue channels. So like I have a boat and I basically start a channel that says, hey, I'm in Texas and I've got a boat. If you're on your roof and need help, you contact me through this app. And because it's the way the app is set up, it uses incredibly small bandwidth. So even though all the Wi-Fi was jammed, it could still get signals through just the way it's programmed.
And it's going to...
So I ended up saving lots of lives. So where I'm going with this, I got thinking about like how cool it would be if like in the Survive the Storm course, instead of me like sending an email being like, hey, you haven't been for a couple of days, imagine they got an alert on their phone and maybe it starts with like exercise or like whatever eCourse update, but then it's like, hey, alert, the clouds are rolling in, we just had the shift in weather, like have you done this activity yet, right?
Wow.
And they're getting this blast.
That's really cool.
And then I was like, well, who else could integrate that into their course and a totally other, like build it into the theme? So Zello is the one that comes to mind. I don't know anything about WhatsApp. I wasn't curious if you guys had an idea of any other platforms that can be explored, we use other than email or Messenger for sending out alerts to kind of push your student around and pull them into the storyline more.
Yeah, we tried using Falcons for a while.
Yeah.
But that just was like it was a little too much for us to manage.
I've still got a scar from when you guys were doing that.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we have a few lawsuits that we're still dealing with.
Yeah, so we decided to like let that go.
Yeah. No, it's interesting that you bring this up. Last week we interviewed Lisa Baker and it was all about launching, and one of her big things, as she said, is that the future of online marketing is in text messaging. That it'll be moving away from emails and moving more into like text and instant messaging on people's phone. It's one of the things I like about switching over to Mighty Networks is when we post a new article or we post an event, all of that sort of stuff sends instant notifications to people's phones. But what I really love about what you're talking about is like you could work that right into your theme, that they get a message being like, okay, survive the storm. Here we go. The clouds are rolling in. Come back to your next lesson. You've got to get your grab bag ready to go. I'm going to show you how. Come here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be an emergency message, right? Like, storm warning message rolling in, and then they like, oh shit, and then they realize it's you, and they're like, oh, that was fun.
We with the Great eCourse Adventure for our autoresponders, like we tried to be really creative with that. Sometimes your future self sends you a message. Sometimes Slick Rick sends you a message. Once in a while, if like you haven't been on the trail for a while, Sherpa Steve sends you a reminder message basically telling you that if you don't come back to him, he's going to die from starvation because he's sitting on the trailhead waiting for you to hurry your ass up so he can catch you up to the group. So like these were things that I was like, well, what can we do to make people take that next step?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's humor. Sometimes it's a tool like Zello, Zello, or Zed if you're Canadian. Okay, so everybody check out Zello if you're looking to get into the text. I think that's I'm gonna do some research and see if I can find some more apps. I know AppSumo a little while ago had a special on a text message sort of thing.
Oh,
I
cool.
don't know. I got to look into ActiveCampaign. They may have a text message option. So I
think they do as well.
I think they do.
Maybe I'll start a thread, and then if people come across resources or want to chat about fun ways to integrate this into a theme.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even the guy, I forget his name that you were chatting about a minute ago with his
Rory.
his cybersecurity GDPR. Like you could totally integrate it into a course like that, where there's just this cyber threat just happened and this just in, new virus. Like, have you gotten this part of your compliance in order yet?
Oh man,
it's just a little like push it up kind of.
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
yeah. That's
WhatsApp
cool.
was the other one that came to mind for me, but I don't know anything about WhatsApp. I just, I don't know.
That's
really
it.
that
And
would
when
be
it comes to
appropriate on something
tech,
like that.
when it comes to tech, there's going to be always 1,000 options. And as we teach, it's really just finding what works for you, what you're comfortable with, what you're going to use. Because, if it's something that's going to be challenging and stressful, then don't use that because it's going to just waste your creative energy.
And it'll waste people's time. I mean, it's also like, what's going to be easy for people to use as well so that they don't get lost in all of your great tech ideas that they can't figure out.
Finding that balance, right?
Yeah, but I like
Cool.
what you're saying.
Well, I'll click off and I'll start a conversation
That's
thread
awesome.
for anyone that's interested in exploring different options and how that might automate into a program for
Awesome.
engagement.
Perfect.
Thanks, Chris.
Awesome.
Cheers, guys.
Chris Gilmore from Surviving the Storm. Awesome. And that just reminds me, I just want to do a quick shout out just to our GEA community and how epic that is. That's a good example of how the community works for us and you being in the community. People like Chris finding these things, bringing it to the community's attention. You can try it out. So that's, again, a real benefit of one of our main pillars of creating a good eCourse.
Yeah.
You want really good content.
Yeah.
You need a really good media, right? And the experience, and then having a really good community to really root that in.
Curriculum, experience, and community. Those are the three pillars that really make a profound learning experience. The curriculum, you got to be teaching something that works and something that's awesome and from your own experience so that you know it works. And then the experiences around themafication and gamification and creating an immersive learning environment, and the community. And the key to creating a community is to create a culture. That's the vibe. That's the energy inside of your. Oh, I hear a CEO outside the door. If any of you can hear the baby knocking on the door, he's our future CEO. He takes over in 5 years.
Yeah.
And so the community, it's creating a culture. And at eCourse Adventures, it's artistic entrepreneurs. It's people really dedicated to transformation. It's people who are trying to pioneer a new way of doing things in whatever your field is. That we're more pioneers in whatever our expertise is. And that's
right. So like
one of the things that
Rory,
ties
if you're
us
still
together.
listening, again, just like creating the culture around all these amazing IT people who take pride in their work and can share the culture of what that is and being able to communicate together. That's going to just strengthen the whole community of what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah. So the next question here, we've got Lisa. She says, I don't like being on camera, but I love writing. What should I do? Force myself to learn to like being on camera? I would say no.
I'd say yes.
I would say both. I would say, A, it's only going to serve you in every aspect of your life to get comfortable being on camera and being a presenter and being empowered and standing behind what it is that you believe in. So yes, that'll be great. And B, if you love writing, like there's nothing that says you have to be on camera.
No.
Steven Spielberg is not on camera. He's behind the camera. He's writing and producing. We have a student from Superhero Academy, also named Lisa, who didn't like being on camera. And she's from Career Avengers. And so she wrote all the scripts and then brought actors on to play the roles that she wanted. And with the Survive the Storm course that we're doing with Chris right now, there's a news anchor that kind of opens up every single lesson, updating people on the storm and where it's at, and then bringing Chris into the picture to teach. And so we did auditions for the last 2 weeks on Salt Spring Island here, our local saltspringexchange.com. We had people send in their video auditions, and we had about 10 or 12 people who submitted their audition videos, and we found a pretty wicked news anchor as a result, because we weren't the right people to be doing the news anchor thing.
No.
And so if you love writing, then you can write the scripts, and you can find other people to step into the roles of being in front of the camera who love that sort of thing. And at the same time, like, go do Toastmasters, sign up for an improv class. We say this again and again and again. Those things, as uncomfortable as they are and as much as you might resist them, they will change your life. You will suddenly be more empowered in your relationships and your communication.
And for the long term, it's really the way to go. There's no shame with hiring actors, but if you're in this for the long haul and you've got things to share and to say, yes, it's awkward to get in front of the camera. Yes, it might take an awkward year of media that is just kind of like, but then it's like my experience too. I'm not used to being in front of the camera, but by doing this weekly show and getting in front of the camera for Green Screen Magic, it's helped me get through that fear of having to be perfect in front of a camera, where I can now start to relax, and that's going to allow me to expand in all aspects of my life, which I can't stress enough of the benefits for that. So that's why I strongly suggest, like, just get over yourself and get in front of the camera, and have fun, and know that, okay, if maybe prepare yourself, I'm going to fail 100 times and it's going to suck, but you just get through those 100 times, and then you're going to start creating awesome media, and then you can just delete everything and start from there.
I would say throw on a wig and a costume and just make an ass out of yourself is a great place to start. Like, just throw yourself over the deep end and do that, and then you really get over it quick.
Yeah, that's one way to go.
Let's see. We got another question here from Cheryl. Cheryl says, I need to decide on which course platform to go with. Many factors I'm weighing on, including ease of maintenance as a one-person operation, security. Her website was hacked, and it took a bunch of time and money to resolve the issues. How do I handle website maintenance, upgrades, and security? Okay, my suggestion for you, if community is a central hub of the experience you're trying to create, then Mighty Networks, I mean, it's the easiest thing. It's what we're switching over to right now. You get to build your own social network, and you get to have courses, and soon gamification will be up on there, and payment gateways and all that sort of stuff. You can create private groups within it. So soon you'll be able to have like paid groups within the community. So you can have paid mastermind groups and all sorts of stuff. That's where Green Screen Magic and Art of eCourse Creation are currently hosted. And if you get our weekly newsletter, you can join the community for free and get started and check it out. And then if community isn't a part of it and you just want a place for people to comment, then check out either Podia or Thinkific. Both of those are really easy. You can brand them and make your sales pages right on them. It's all like so simple for a non-techie. You can create beautiful designs and beautiful e-courses. If your course is already hosted somewhere else, then Podia for free will actually import your courses from where they are and set them up for you, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and
Lifter LMS is another one.
Lifter LMS is awesome if you're into WordPress.
Okay.
It would be like if the level of tech experience you need for like Mighty Networks, Podia, or Thinkific is like novice level, like me, then that's that. And then for Lifter LMS, you can, if you get their full suite of plugins, which is around $1,000, you can do like badges and gamification. You have comments options. You can have your own Facebook wall for chats. People can have their own profiles. You can do a lot with Lifter LMS, and it's like an all-in-one WordPress plugin where you can set everything up. And that's more of like an intermediate level with a medium budget. And then
worth growing into.
Yeah, and then what we have with the Great eCourse Adventure is advanced. You need a lot of time or tech
You need
team.
yourself an Andy.
Yeah, you need an Andy to build it, to set up like your currency in a store and your forum, and there's so many plugins. And if you're curious about what we used for the Great eCourse Adventure as it stands right now, shoot us an email or just go search on the internet learn dash great eCourse adventure, and you can find a 45-minute interview where we let you peek under the hood and show you exactly how we set it all up.
Cool.
So hopefully that helps you, Cheryl, make a decision. If not, ask us in the community.
Perfect. So that pretty much, I think
We got 2 more questions. They won't be
more?
too long.
Okay.
Let's just do it. We're here.
we're almost there.
Everybody's still here, so we might as well just dig in because these questions might help everybody. Dom says, I need a team. I can't do this all myself. What steps do you recommend taking to find a team to work with? Number 1, if you're the visionary, you need to have a clear vision. It needs to be on paper. It needs to be articulated and refined so that you can sell people on your vision. You know, the only reason Blair joined my team is because I articulated in a clear way that he could actually tangibly see what it was that I was dreaming up, and I had prototypes. I mean, he joined me first with helping me to improve all of our meditation tracks for my meditation courses. I had the courses up. They already existed. They weren't just this idea. I wasn't this crazy scientist waiting for my team in shining armor to come save me. I already built my version 1 so that Blair could be like, yeah, I want to get behind this and make it better.
Half of it was out of pity.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy's great, but he really needs some help creating
Yeah.
his media experience.
And so we came in. With Andy, it was the same sort of thing. He was talented. I was hiring him to do my web work. And I was like, dude, do you want to just be business partners and we'll split the cut 50-50?
That's a big part of, I find, the way team members work and will find you is that you need to be out there doing your best with what you've got.
Yeah.
And they then see the potential as knowing what they can do,
Yeah.
seeing what you're doing and going like, man, if we work together, we can take this to a whole nother level.
Exactly.
That's the type of team member that you want to find, or will essentially find you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. So just getting out there, creating the type of media that you can, getting in front of people, doing live chats and talks, whatever it is that you can do.
But if you've got a talented creative friend that's great at video or great at editing and they're not doing that in their life and they're kind of down on their luck, if they've got motivation and ambition and they're actually reliable, then you could recruit them and be like, listen, this is what I want to do. Obviously, you need to have a freaking clear plan. You need to this is the map that we're going with, because not everybody's like Blair. When we did the Great eCourse Adventure, we're like, Blair, it's just a weekend project.
It'll be done in a
weekend
month,
turned into a 6-week project, and then it turned into 9 months, and now he's been here for 2.5 years. So it's good to articulate your vision and find people that you love, know, and trust.
Using a percentage model, right? Could also inspire, like, if we can split this 50-50 and we've got potential to make dump truckloads of cash. And, who won't say yes to dump load trucks of cash?
And if it's just like, we're going to start off working on weekends because that's what we can do, then just do that. And I think follow through is really key. Just finding somebody that can follow through. And that's what's helped us get successful is we're both hard workers and we both follow through on our word and we get the job done. And that's really important. Yeah,
we've had other people come in, potential team members to work with us. Some, some have stuck around, like Brad and I have worked, together all the way through. Others, they come, they do some work, and they carry on. And so it's just like relationships and finding the right people, but you have to get out into the crowd to meet people and find people. So, different social groups, meetups, those types of things could be helpful. If you're looking for media people to help you with that, go to the colleges and such like that. And you might find some bushy-tailed, bright-eyed students that are looking to prove themselves and do some work and just need a little bit of a beer fund to help them through, and might do some work for pretty cheap. There's a lot of opportunities. It's just getting creative and trying.
And post in the community here at eCourse Adventures. We have a buddy up, collaborate conversation thread, and that's for the purpose of all of you starting to work together. And those can be partnerships or hiring each other. And the reason we're working with Chris is because we witnessed him work his ass off for 2 years and try all of his ideas and fail and succeed. And he kept showing up and being a supportive player in the community. And we really believe in what he's doing. And we're like, we want in on that. Like, we think that our skills can elevate everything you're trying to do. And we want in. And so
a
for
good
us,
example
like,
of showing up, and we saw that, like, hey, if we got behind Chris, we could lift this to higher levels, and we can all benefit from that.
Yeah. So same thing, like, just keep working. And like, even the prototype thing, what you're building might be your version 1 prototype that somebody comes in and helps you to amp it up someday. Maybe it'll be us. And that's how we work. Like, when I have an idea for videos and stuff like that, or even sales pages, I do the prototype to get what's in my brain out into the real world in a rough version, and then Blair makes it better, or we hire somebody to make it better to fulfill like the fullest potential of that vision.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's helpful. And
last
question, Jonathan here. All the courses I had the idea of creating are all based around a bigger goal. As I'm going through the course, is it better for me to focus on the larger scale, or try to answer these questions very specifically based on one small course idea? And the second part of his question is, when it comes to guitar-related courses, which is saturated as anything, a lot of the feedback I've found so far has been less talking and over-the-top theming. How can you still add some theming and make it more interesting without it getting in the way of the actual lessons?
I mean, it could be as simple as just like, welcome to the Guitar Temple. Here we go. We're going to learn this. And it's just your background, you know, maybe a little theme song at the beginning, just the way the color schemes, like that stuff. It's working on an unconscious level. So you don't need to get into the conscious mind and have a whole story where it takes half of your lesson time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, like, knowing your knowing who your audience is, like, what's the purpose of your course? Like, one theme idea would be like Jack Black's movie School of Rock. If it's a School of Rock, then your whole theme is going to be a rock theme, and all the songs that you teach are going to be rock, and you're going to look like a rock star, and you're going to be, you know, you could have a VIP backstage sort of area for some lessons. You'd be out on the stage performing for other lessons. Like, what are people actually there to do? You know, maybe a theme idea could be like The Voice, and you have talent shows once a month that people have an entire month to learn a specific piece, and then they have to upload their videos to your platform to showcase them playing that exact same piece. Totally. And then everybody in the community could vote on those pieces.
And they win a prize, some sort of maybe special one-on-one lesson with you or something.
Totally.
You know?
And then the next month you start the challenge over, you choose a different song, you teach people the chords, and you do it all again. Like, it's more about the experience. Obviously the videos need to be entertained, but even just the way you film them can be entertaining. Having multiple camera angle shots, the music that you choose, the genre that you're choosing, the way that you hold yourself in the videos, and how well planned out and scripted they are. Like, all of those things add to the experience that you're going to create.
And that's such the key word again, coming back. We live in the information world and this age, and there's no shortage of information. Like you said, there's no shortage of guitar videos out there. But what is the experience that are people searching for? So you got to get clear on again the niche that you are marketing towards. Is this going to be for kids, you know, between the ages of 8 and 12? Is this teenagers? Are these adults? Is it classic rock? Is it Spanish guitar? You know, like, all these things will be dependent, or will help you gauge where you're taking this.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to yourself and who do you want to be working with, and that will help guide to this. You know, help guide you to the students and your students to you.
And I mean, so I saw Jonathan say, I love the performance idea. I think that could be a great thing. Like, for us with the green screen magic course, each module has a very specific video that we created, and then we teach the students to recreate it and replace us with themselves and all the background sound effects and all the layers that exist. So for you, like, teach them a song and get them to perform it for everybody in the community.
Yeah. You could provide the backing tracks, you know.
And that could just be a membership site. You start with your first lesson, and then people pay a monthly subscription if they want to learn all of the next songs. And you could just build that, you know, in a year from now, you'll have 12 songs on the platform. There'll be another competition. It gives people the opportunity to, you know, to dissolve their performance anxiety. You can teach them to practice, to perform. Like, there's so many layers that you could go into there.
Yeah, and the themification is also to help you establish who you are in the market. Who do you want to be seen as?
Yeah.
So, and again, that will help attract the people. So maybe like you're doing this all from the back of your tour bus. And you know, maybe one of the lessons you're actually on stage getting ready for a gig, and here I'm going to show you this lesson, you know, this song, or here's a lesson. So you could be playing that theme of who you are, maybe like being some rock star or something like that.
Yeah. It's really, who are your people? Are you working with like advanced musicians? Are you working with people like myself that I can strum and play and hold a beat and make a rhythm, but I don't even know what, like,
you just want to learn Sweet Home Alabama and just like carry it home, right?
Are you teaching people to write their own songs, or are they wanting to play cover songs, or like, those questions need to be answered, and then you can figure out what you're doing. And personally, I think like membership sites are a great way to go, because you can just, you know, create a library of 12 really awesome video lessons that teach people 12 skills or 12 mini courses or whatever, and you can just keep building the library over time. I mean, if this is your long game and you know you're going to be creating courses on this topic for a long time, then why not go the membership route?
Totally.
You're going to enjoy the people that come and go through the community.
Create as you need to, right? And as your students, you start recognizing, oh, like I really need just to kind of have a video on learning scales. So you just kind of start giving that, and have a resources page within your membership site, or give some of that for free, just because you want the people on the other side of the gate to be able to see you, try you out, feel you, get a sense of like, I like this teacher, this guy's rad, I want to learn more. So you gotta keep giving people what Tad Hargrave, our friend Tad, says, it's the pink spoon, like at the ice cream parlor. You know, you've got, you know, 24 flavors and you don't know which one, but you've got the pink spoon and you can taste them all, and get a little sample. Yeah, totally.
So hopefully there's something there.
Yeah.
Jonathan just said, my folks are around helping a student progressing independently to teach them how to practice so that they can develop their ability in shorter times. So it's more around how to practice. Now, in that how to practice, you're teaching them to play specific songs, chords, etc. And if it's just like, to me, like, how to practice sounds like a course within the community. Like, here's the how to practice course sort of thing.
And that's your expertise, right? So that's where just getting clear with knowing, again, who you're working for, and that's where Architect Forest is all about, getting clear, that we teach in checkpoint 4, I think it is. Right. And so there's so many journaling questions at that stage to get clear before you can go any further, because if you're not clear, then it's like trying to shoot an arrow through a forest and trying to hit a target that you can't even really see.
He says the idea of creating an entire membership site is a fantastic idea. Weirdly enough, there's a bass lesson academy school, but no guitar schools. Bam.
There you go. Have fun with that.
Make that guitar school. Awesome. Well, we look forward to, in a week from now, send us an update, Jonathan. Let us know where your vision goes from these seeds that have been planted. And for everybody else, let us know if this has been helpful today. We want to get back into doing some more Q&As. How often do you want them? Do you want them twice a month, once a month?
Yes, it's been helpful. You know, we're also just in the test phase of eCourse Adventures Live too. So if you've been paying attention, has this been helpful for you? You know, again, we want to be able to serve you out there and bringing people on for interviews. You know, it's being done elsewhere too. We're having fun doing this, but we want to make sure that we're doing it in the best possible way for you. So if the Q&A rocked your world and was helpful and you want more of that, then let us know. If there's anybody out there that you want to for us to interview, let us know. If you want to come on and be interviewed, let us know. We're just doing our best to figure out how to navigate this ship.
I like what Chris suggests here. Every other week do a Q&A, and on the other weeks do a guest.
Cool.
Kinda rotate.
Nice.
We're doing a show every week. I like that. That's a good suggestion.
We can try that out.
Q&A every 2 weeks, and sweet. I guess we better get our guest for next week.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for coming out. This has been awesome and feels productive to me. I hope you have a great week. Shoot us an email in the campfire. Let us know if you need support. And Ranger Boss Lady is going to be making her rounds, so you'll probably get a tap on the shoulder if you're not making progress on the mountain. So watch out.
Awesome. Have a good week, everybody.
See you next week, everybody. Famous and rich
and still live. Bye, everybody.